All right, welcome to APOD 2.0. Again, we have Austin Train with us. We also have David. David's back from his school trip. And today we're going to get back to the APOD roots. We're actually going to talk about some nerdy shit today. We're going to talk about role-playing games, RPGs. Not the video games, but the actual pen and paper role-playing games, Dungeons & Dragons, the whole 9 yards. Roll your D20s. Let's get it done.
Stay tuned, guys. This is going to be very interesting.
Riveting.
So
Nothing gets pussy wet like game theory, right?
That's the title of my new album.
So basically, role-playing games kind of started Dungeons & Dragons, at least in modern history. There's been evidence in archaeological places in Italy. I believe they uncovered a D20, a 20-sided
That
dice.
ancient Roman virgins got together on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's like, there's all these orgies in like fucking Rome back in the day and like Caligula, all this shit.
He's like, I'm not really into orgies.
Yeah, there's still guys who were just cut out of all that.
They just had like taped glasses, but were also wearing like togas. So what? So are you being serious with that? There was archaeological evidence of tabletop games.
Well, at least the 20-sided dice. Well, yeah, no, they did have.
Yeah,
they
they used for gambling.
Yeah, they did have tabletop games as well. I mean, they're
like Monopoly, or like
not
Monopolius. That's Roman. That's Roman for Monopoly.
Yeah.
What would that game even? Because what would that game even been about?
Well, I don't know. Chess wasn't. What year's chess? Chess. They was the Middle Ages, right? Like fucking 1100 or something like that.
Well, they might have had it before then, but I think, Middle Ages is the oldest chess that they found, but they might be older.
India was invented in India, I believe. And then,
really?
And then the Vikings had that. That fucking Hemlafne thing where you have the king in the middle and you have the invading forces, and it's kind of that board game.
It's like Siege.
Yeah, looking at you, Jack.
Yeah, no, it was kind of like that, I guess. I don't know, maybe like Diplomacy, that board game. No, but board games have been out forever. I mean,
Chinese checkers.
yeah, it's Chinese, therefore it must be ancient. Fucking racist.
I had this ancient Chinese pirated DVD.
I have Chinese finger traps. Retarded. No, so was it 1977 or something like that when Dungeons & Dragons Basic came out? The red books. You recall, David?
I don't.
David just got into role-playing games. He looks like he's been playing games his entire life. Not true. Just started last month.
I like how quickly he shot you down.
Yeah.
Like he was like, I don't know. I was like, no. Just no, Ben. God.
Don't
I have
bring me
no
this
time for your
conversation.
foolishness.
Don't worry, he's just feeding on all of this.
He's like,
He's ready, and then when he strikes like the emperor, just like
I got no time for role-playing games. I'm too busy banging bitches.
hashtag get money, hashtag get pussy.
All right, I rolled this die. If it hits 20, you blow me 20 times. You blow me however many times that side of die goes up.
Do y'all say 20, mister?
It's all part of my plan.
Suck your dick.
Now that's what I call game theory.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. So RPG's been out for a while. They've pretty much everything's a ripoff of D&D Basic, right?
How did the guy come up with the idea for D&D?
Gary Gygax, I think he wrote actually fantasy.
Oh, he wrote
Bard,
fantasy
Bard,
books?
what was the guy's name? Bard or Rogue or something? I forget. Yeah, well, it was like short stories, I believe.
Roe v. Bard, the classic Supreme Court decision.
To give us the right to play tabletop
Yes.
games.
Yeah, Gary Gygax wrote that. Everything from henceforth has been ripoffs.
How about this? Go around the table. Do you guys remember like the first character you ever created? Do you remember name, any backstory you made for it or anything?
I have a bunch of them. Not the first though. I started playing when I was like fucking 10.
You don't remember the first? How about what's like the oldest character you can remember that you created?
Well, the oldest character I remember playing was it was a board game, kind of like an RPG. It was a Marvel Heroes universe. Every Marvel hero you had, they had stats for him and shit. There was these big fold-out mats, and you played like these little missions. And I always played the Daredevil. Just go around beating the shit out of people with my stick. So I remember Daredevil. That was my thing. How about you, David?
I remember my first game was D&D basic, but I don't remember what character I had or any shit like that.
No.
We had an asshole GM.
I guess maybe it was easier for me because I got into it like later in life. I remember Terry, looking at you. Hopefully you come on a show someday. We were going to play. We're going to have some drinks. He's like, oh yeah, we're going to make characters. So ahead of time, I like created my character. I drew him. His name was Gorsaw. He was like this like half orc dude that.
He was the lead singer for Gwar.
Yeah, well, it was part Hudson from Gargoyles mixed with like a Gwar character. Yeah, and it's like he did like some time travel and stuff, but like I came up with this cool backstory and stuff. So like I showed up and I was like, oh yeah, this is my character. Let's build some stats. Like this is his backstory. Yeah, like his mom is human. She's gonna get raped by some orcs, and then this other orc like fucking saved her. So then she gave herself. But then they wanted to like kill her because she disgraced the kingdom.
Star Wars
so then,
Episode 1.
The fucking baby survived, and the baby became this guy, and he time traveled. And they were like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, these are our characters. Like, shut up and let's play. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah. And that's
What were their
got me into
characters?
it.
Like, this is like Jim.
Yeah.
He's a wood elf.
Yeah, like,
he just
I-
kind of hangs out.
I
like
was-
Jim, like everyone was like, "Hey, Jim, go to college," but Jim wanted to take some time off for himself and kind of see what was out there.
They started hanging out with Bob the Fighter and Riven Rock of Thistledown or some shit.
All he wanted was a Pepsi.
Are you on drugs? Like, Mom, no, I'm a wood elf. We don't have. I don't even drink mead.
What's with the ears?
Mom.
My friend tried to get me into it once. Because I've always liked like video game RPGs, and they tried to get me into it, and we were playing this like D&D or something, and he was like, it was just me and him. He was the dungeon master, I was the dungeonee or whatever.
So he was basically just like fucking you the whole time. So it's just like one-on-one. He's just like,
Yeah, I don't care too much for Dungeons and Dragons after that experience. But so he was like, "Hey, what do you want to be?" And I was like, "I want to be an ogre." And he's like, "That's not a playable character." And I was like, "This is the fantasy. How come there are rules to my fantasy? Fuck you. Who the fuck is making up all these rules? If you want to be a unicorn, why can't you just be a fucking unicorn?
yeah, like a metal unicorn.
It's a made up game. You're not like
A metal unicorn named Dolphin.
yeah. You're a mecha unicorn.
You put on like the little hooves and walk around.
You have like a GPS out of your horn that tells you where to go."
Maybe like an interchangeable horn. So
Yeah.
like for every situation you could switch it out.
He's like
Put something
Batman,
better.
basically. He just has a utility belt filled with horns that he just like switches out. I need my shark horn, shark repellent horn.
You mentioned like video game RPGs for a second.
Yeah,
Could you throw something out there so that way we can get David to comment on something?
sure. Uh oh.
That's what-
There's your ogre. There's your ogre.
I feel like he's like the lion that you're just poking in his paw with like a thorn. He just comes out.
It's like that game. Remember that game? Sometimes you see it at the Padre games, and it's like a kids game where it's like a cream pie thing, or it's like
Are you talking about a game or are you talking about pornography? What are you talking
No,
about?
it's like they put
you know,
like-
like cream pie? What do you-
no, they put like whipped cream in this little thing, and then it's like they turn like the little turnstile, and it doesn't go, and then they keep going around in a circle until
Dirt
they
words.
turn it, and then it pops into someone's
Oh, it's
face.
Russian roulette.
Oh yeah.
It's basically Russian roulette with like whipped cream.
It's pie roulette.
Pie roulette, yeah. I feel like that's what we're doing right now with David. Where it's like we're chumming the waters, we're throwing stuff out.
I thought you were talking
and we're
like
just
where-
waiting until he like attacks.
Where's
Season
where's
closing.
the ball? And they have the three hats and they move around and shit.
No, the
Everyone's
other
like,
one.
"Run,
It's like a
run."
kid's game where you put your face in this little hole,
Yeah.
and then It's like Russian roulette. Like
Still
you said.
kind of sounds like a sex thing.
I think that was a Kickstarter game, actually.
Yeah. It still kind of does sound like a sex thing. Because as soon
They
as I
need to
said
make
cream
that hole
pie,
smaller just a bit.
as soon as I said cream pie, I realized that we had a.
Yeah, I can't think of cream pie without being kind of grossed out.
All right. And then for Sean's sake, we're gonna go ahead every time we say cream pie. Just put a little
Bell
counter.
points.
That's like Sean saying hardcore during the Kickstarter for Primoris videos. He said hardcore like 15 times.
Hardcore?
It's like, yeah, it's all like, yeah, so, you know, like I was just like, yeah, that's a really good game. Hardcore. It's a hardcore game, really hardcore.
Is he just on cocaine? Because the way you did it sounds like either he's like a nerd or he's on cocaine,
Maybe both.
really stoked on tabletop gaming.
They're not mutually exclusive there, Austin.
I can see that would help.
So, sorry. RPG games. What do you play?
Oh, well, I started off as a kid. I'd play a lot of I remember when I was a kid, Final Fantasy VII came out and it was huge. And I played it a little bit, but...
Is that the one with the cloud? The guy with the big
Yeah.
sword? Okay.
It was the big
Sin?
PlayStation one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was the first, because they had Final Fantasy before them, but that was when it, finally, blew up in America.
Yeah.
And then from there, I got into, Diablo and Elder Scrolls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
Bethesda, if you're watching,
Sponsorship.
stop the downloadable content.
I
You
think
got my money. I
After
fucked
after
up.
the cream pies, I don't think we're going to be having any sponsors. I'll just go ahead and...
We might get
Sorry,
sponsored by a
Ballast Point.
cream pie
I mean-
company or a porn site.
Yeah, that's where the real money is.
Yeah.
Online.
Table. RPP? Role-playing pornos?
I already got. I got a
Role-penetrating
script. I got a
games?
script in mind.
I have never been more turned on in my life, Chris.
We
Also, you call them role-playing pornos.
yeah.
You sound like somebody's stepdad trying to relate to them. Look, guys. I know how it is to watch pornos and take your pot hits in your room. I like to party. I grew up in the 70s.
Yeah, I like Jewel.
Gets the cigarettes out from the sleeve rolled up
Look,
Pall Malls.
I was a big Styx fan. I get
until they
it.
sold out to the critics.
You like rock and roll. Want to watch my laser
How about
discs
what if we
collection?
did? What if we did this? We did.
VHS?
It was RPP, role playing porno. It was a cross
Just say
between.
porn. Just fucking say porn.
No.
Nobody says porno.
Roll-
No one under the age of
It's
65
branding.
says
It's
porno.
branding because people will remember it, right? It's a cross between fucked and an RPG. So like the dungeon master is the guy behind the camera, and it's like, hey, does your boyfriend know you here? Huh?
It's like a
look at
weird
you.
casting couch.
I could see it like a Google Glass, and then they look down, and they were like just the first person shot him rolling like a die, and then looking back up at the bit.
How about
casting
you look down and you see the
9
hand,
more minutes.
you see the hand moving, but then dice comes out.
Gets hit by a bunch of fucking dice in the
Yeah.
face.
Can't wait till
Go
you,
Yeah,
I'm
you're gonna have problems choking on dice. When
coughing out dice. That didn't turn out the way we thought it did.
yeah.
So yeah, role playing games, super fun. David, what's your favorite? And let's clarify, pen and paper
Well,
versus.
I will speak partially for David. David does not have favorites. David, don't ask him a favorite. Ask him maybe what he likes right now,
No.
what he likes the most. David doesn't have favorites.
Well, D&D 5e is obviously a huge step up from 4th edition. I like Shadowrun as a setting, but mechanically it's all over the map and half the shit doesn't even work. But the setting is awesome and that really saves it. I've tried a couple of the Fate system games, which are alright. It really depends on what kind of GM you got.
With Amber.
No, Fate is Diaspora is a Fate system game.
so you said
It's that system with the fudge dice, and you've got the aspects, and you tag and shit.
are you saying DM as in Dungeon Master or GM?
Game Master.
Game Master is the more general term. It's called
Oh, really?
DM specifically in Dungeons and Dragons because it's a dungeon master. But
Hence
in just
Dungeons
general
and
RPGs, you just say GM.
So like old school gamers,
Yeah.
they still say, "Are you the DM?" Like we'd be playing it like.
See, when you say
Whatever.
GM, I think of general manager. Like
Yeah.
he's trading out players. Like he's like, Chris, I don't really like. I don't
happens
think
a
you
lot.
work for Fate. I'm gonna trade you out
Yeah.
to a different
There you go.
game.
The more you know.
We're learning. Very educational.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot of player turnover in RPGs.
I can imagine. Do people like bicker a lot over like rules and shit?
Well,
All
you
the
get a
time.
picture. There's guys that don't really have a lot of human interaction.
Yeah.
You get all these sweaty, disgusting masses of
I mean,
bottom rungs of society in one
basically,
row.
So this
what you're
podcast,
looking at
basically.
right now.
Yes. So,
So-
us.
us fighting over more imaginary shit.
Yeah, yeah, like the arguments that we had, like, well, how come Batman kind of betrayed the whole Batman persona, Dawn of Justice, like those types of arguments, only but with like rules and numbers and stats and
Yeah.
story.
Ad nauseum.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's why there's a high turnover rate. So you get all these sweaty fucking, just give me your huddled masses of these
So
people.
it's very democratic.
Kind of, not really.
Well, with that, that's why you have your GM or your DM because
It's
like,
usually
there's,
an asshole.
there's some people, yeah, like he says, there's an asshole. Like experience that I've had, sometimes there's one guy that takes like 10 minutes to do one turn when it's like, because they keep trying to like cheat the system and work themselves into like the best position.
yeah.
And they're like, oh, I don't want to. It's like the person that when you're playing chess or checkers,
Yeah.
when they're like, they move it and look at you.
Try to read you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they try to like test the waters.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it that could be really painful because you could play for like 2 hours, like one game, and only do like 2 or 3 turns each because there's one person that's just bringing the game to a halt the whole time. Yeah. Would you guys agree with that, or?
Well, that's a personality type that exists. I mean, sometimes people take 10 minutes to take their turn because they're idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's in some books. There's actually, I think in Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder, they're like how to deal with difficult players. Like for all you fucking nerds with no social skills, this is how you have social skills and conflict management. And they actually have a section in the game mastering, like dealing with difficult players, how to keep the game moving, dealing with conflict, how to resolve conflict. It's kind of saddening. I mean, that's how these nerds learn social skills, right?
It's funny. It's like somebody could write a book like "What D&D Taught Me About Marriage," like applying.
That would
If
require a D&D player to get married.
If I hit her, I
It could
always hit her
happen.
20 times.
If I roll a 1 on my domestic violence check, I'll fall down the stairs.
Prenuptial agreement check. Roll.
Never bring goblins into the bedroom.
Silence.
So what's the sort of like end goal for a tabletop game?
Usually the game, the group peters out before there's any finish into a campaign.
Does the GM general, does he usually be like, all right, this is what I want. This is like the kind of climactic thing you're trying to get.
But
Or
they
is it
tell a
just-
story. They tell a story, and the players are just there interacting with it.
Yeah.
The way some game masters work is this is very by the book. Like one guy, Carter, that we knew, that you made him quit. You broke the game because you made the game master quit. Different story.
What did you do?
He trolled the game
I
master.
was just basically trolling him. One of the tropes of fantasy stories is you get a magical MacGuffin and then you lose it. You have to go find it.
A magical is that
Like just a amulet or a book or something. It's just something there that drives the plot.
something from McDonald's?
Like from a kid's
Magical
meal.
MacGuffin.
A
The
kid's
pick of
meal.
destiny.
It's only available until 10:30.
Not anymore.
Oh, all day. All day MacGuffins.
Every day. Hence, the Pigman.
Hence preferred skills in diabetes.
So yeah, he
You
basically
gotta earn
gave
that
my
shit.
character this magic item that was going to get lost, and finding it was going to be the crux of the plot.
Well, the thing is, though, hold on. This guy Carter has this thing for elves. He always plays an elf. He has this weird thing with elves.
Elves are hot, man.
Elves.
She lived Tyler? Or was it Liv Taylor or Tyler?
Tyler,
Liv
Yeah.
Tyler, Steven Tyler's
Yeah.
daughter.
who is also an elf.
She's
He
an
is
elf.
an elf.
She's hot.
Well, David Bowie's probably the closest thing to an elf.
David Bowie was hot.
Not in real life anymore.
No, but he's dead. But so I
But
guess
that
he
elf
was
was
an
supposed
elf.
to live a long time.
Yeah, that
David.
didn't happen.
What happened?
Hashtag fucking pancreatic cancer, whatever the fuck he had. But so he loves elves. He loves like wizards and all this other shit. So he holds like if you speak badly about elves, which is a fictitious fucking thing, by the way.
Yeah.
As far as I know, aside from David Bowie, elves don't exist. But if you talk shit about
Well, they don't
elves,
exist anymore.
true. Yeah, they moved on. But he gets he gets personally offended if you talk shit about elves. So that's when this guy comes in, and I told him this before the game. So of
Yeah,
course
he
had
informed me about this.
Talking about
disposition
chumming
for
the
elves.
waters, right?
So
Wow.
I made an elf wizard, which is generally just a powerful character.
Yeah.
Because elves are good at being wizards and stats, I
synergize
guess.
those bonuses. Yeah.
So, and he gives me this magic guy. I'm like, probably because I made an elf and he likes elves. And it's obvious that this thing's going to get lost and chasing after it is going to be the crux of the plot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I don't want to lose this. I'm going to keister it. Nobody's going to pick that pocket. And he loses his shit, obviously.
He's like, you can't put it. It's like I put the amulet in my elf ass. He's like, you can't put it in your elf ass. And he's like, dude. He's like, why not? He's like, because it won't fit for one. He's like, I'm an elf. Of course it will fit. Okay, that's it. That's it. I quit. You got. That's it. I'm done. I'm done.
I think I made a comment about taking the stick out first to make room for the amulet.
So you're gonna keister it and bring it into elf prison
That was
and
no
trade
prison.
it for elf cigarettes.
And then like Punisher elf shows up. We get into a big fight. He's like,
You're
stabs
stuck in here with
everybody.
me. Yeah. So he quit because he offended the elven kind.
So I imagine,
And because he didn't want to do math.
Yeah.
and that happens a lot.
what kind of math? Like, was it like you
Like
turned
subtracting from 4.
I was gonna say like you turn your butt into like a math problem, or it's all like
What's
well,
the radius of an elf asshole? Versus,
He's like breaking it down. It's like this is
I wish-
how this is the diameter.
I
of
wish
your
we had a
elf
camera on Sean right
anus.
now because when Ben said the radius of an elf asshole, like,
No, if we want to determine the radii of elf asses, we need to play Fatal.
well, they have a high fiber diet, therefore. Ridiculous.
Yeah, what the fuck do elf eat?
They like leaves and shit. I don't
That's
know.
granola. Just
Yeah.
granola.
Yeah.
So elves are just like annoying hipsters.
Annoying
Yeah.
vegan hipsters, yeah.
There's
I would
eat-
say they're vegan, right? Because there's like the Keebler elves, right? They like the punk rock.
No, they're just
Like-
the bitches. They're like Santa's rejects.
Yeah, because now they make cookies, but those cookies aren't
Yeah.
vegan. They're far from it.
Well, thank you for that public service announcement, Chris.
Keebler cookies.
Those Keebler cookies use animal farm products.
Well,
GMO.
when it comes to role playing games, what's on the future for They Pod? Because I mean, there's a storm coming. Ben knows all about it.
The storm.
Yeah. It rhymes with Smousmard.
Oh, Mossguard. You want me to talk about Mossguard? Okay. So Chris is a huge comic book nerd fan. And,
Burke.
Comic
I
book
love
nerd.
comic books.
Comic book.
Ben just turned himself into the enamored chick.
Yeah,
I nerf
Burke.
Burks.
Enamored chick? I don't get it.
No, the one that's like
the meme.
Oh,
the
okay.
enamored chick. I nerf Burks.
Yeah,
Like it's yeah, okay. Anyways.
Okay.
Not
I'm too busy reading. I don't go on the internet too often, so sorry.
well, that was very pretentious.
Wait,
too busy
Hey, we already
drinking
finished
fine
talking about
liquor.
vegans. You can drop that.
I'm too busy drinking fine.
I don't have a computer. I have a typewriter.
I'm far too busy drinking fine
Yeah.
liquor
This
and
actually
studying
isn't-
the radii of
This,
elf
Yeah, this isn't a podcast.
My
This isn't-
thesis papers on the radii of the elf ass.
This is an intervention for Ben before he turns into a hipster. That's all his Amazon
Before the
cart.
beard falls away and the mustache keeps growing.
He's trying to buy one of those bikes that has a really big wheel in the front.
That's the next logical progression from hipster.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, so Mouse Guard. Chris is a huge comic book fan. Mouse Guard graphic novel. I mean,
Well, I like Well, we'll start from the beginning. Well, let's do the natural progression of how this happened. You bought
How
the
did
game.
it happen?
You bought the game, right?
Yeah.
How did
$70 is a night. It was like a little package. It was like super dense, heavy. It had game master screen. It had like 20 dice, rules book.
All right, everybody.
cards.
I'm gonna throw it up on the screen right there. Everybody, take a look. You can see that right there is the package that Ben paid $70 for. So, I mean, it's nice. You know, it's nice. How did you find out about it?
Actually, I went out to a gaming shop locally in San Diego. I was like, I'm
You wanna give him a
bored.
shout out?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
No, not those guys. And we're looking for something new. Again, we got this board game, Rogue Agent, which is awesome. Sean doesn't like it. David thinks it's pretty shit. I
It's
think it's
alright.
pretty cool.
It's awesome.
I think it's cool. I'm gonna make board games great again. No, that's all right. But then I also got like shit, $70 all inclusive. We get all these expansions. Usually these games, you know, they put out one general rule book, and then you got to buy the Game Master rule book, and then you got to buy like the Monster Compendium or all these other source books. Like these things, just how they make their money. They just keep pumping out shit. Well, it's all inclusive, $1. I was like, oh, that's cool. Mice with swords, and I'm reading it as like, you know, the storyline behind us is actually uplifting, kind of simple and I don't know what's the word for it. Innocent.
Mousy.
Yeah, optimistic, innocent. And I was like, oh, but we're the good guys. We're gonna go save mouse kind. So you're a mouse with fucking like medieval weapons and shit, and you're gonna save other mouse communities from like animals and weather.
So, like, if you were to put it in like layman's terms, like
Yeah.
you know, people who might have seen Game of Thrones once or twice,
yeah,
how would you explain the mouse guard to them?
mouse guard. It's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, but with mice. It's
It's like
you have the politics. Obviously, it's a metaphor. You're playing mice, but it's like a metaphor for like human society and
Yeah.
shit.
but
so-
these
but-
guys are kind of like was it like the Night Watch.
I guess the Night Watch, like Border Patrol, FEMA, Homeland Security type of thing, everything in once. They basically serve
The
mouse kind.
guards of
Yeah.
the Mouse Kingdom.
Well, hence mouse guards.
Yeah, mouse guard.
You
yeah,
really,
but it's
you really
like
broke it down, Chris.
but they're kind of like nice though, because there's like a code of like chivalry that goes with it. But instead of more about being like a chauvinistic pig in middle-aged time, like real life, with like a religious bent, it's more like we're serving all of mouse kind. So it's very
They
humanistic,
fight rats.
mousistic.
no, they're
yeah.
weasels.
Weasels.
There's
Yes.
no cats.
No, there are no cats.
Really?
No fucking cats, but
And
there are
there's no
plenty of other
rats?
predators.
Or like rats, like bandits.
But the weasels. They're weasels.
Yeah, like that's the thing that sold me because Ben bought this game. I come over to hang out because Ben was like, "Hey, fucking come over and have some beers." And I was
It was
like,
2 in the
"All right."
morning. Like, hey, I'm gonna cook some
Yeah.
steak.
Yeah, it's like, yeah,
Gonna
I'm
play
gonna-
some mouse
That's
gad.
code. I'm gonna cook some steak. That's code. So I came over, hanging out, having
Brought
some
his dental
beers.
dam.
You don't know what kind of fucking shit I got. So I come over, and I'm looking at this box, and the box alone, I'm just looking at it, I was like, man, this is fucking cool. I started
So
flipping
you
through
put your
it,
dental dam in it.
and I'm looking at all the artwork, and there's like these like really awesome fucking like one shots of like there's like a mouse riding a quail as like a war horse, and then there's another mouse behind it, like shooting a bow and arrow at a fucking weasel who's like all fucking feral, and there's like all these arrows.
It
in
looks
him
like the
already.
weasels look like pirates. Like they have
Yeah.
all this weird jewelry and shit. So it's obviously a
So-
metaphor.
Yeah, so like that fucking sold the artwork alone sold me, and I was like, look at these fucking mice, dude. These mice are all like punk rock mice, like, you know, with all this fucking metal shit, you know, like they look like they could be in an episode of Metalocalypse or something. And then I was like looking into it, and then I found a comic book, so I was like, oh, what? It turns out that the whole game is based on a comic book. So I went out and I bought a hardcover of the first issue at Yesteryear Comics. Thanks, Mike, because he had, you know, the first issue. Ben's read it, Sean's read it. I haven't read it yet, but before
awesome.
we create our characters, I think it would be really cool if we all read the comics, so that way our GM, you know, can kind of throw some characters in, throw some stuff just kind of within continuity, even though we're creating our own story.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's pretty uplifting. And, you know, even the first graphic novel that I read is, you know, it's pretty fun. It's a cool story. Awesome artwork. Every page in that book, it's a small book. It's like, what, 8.5 by 8.5 maybe?
Yeah, about that.
Same size of graphic novels. Every page has art on it. Super cool. Can't wait to play it, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of the stuff you were reading, like, what was that thing you were talking about, like the GM directions. Remember that?
Oh yeah, it's like during the game master's turn, you're supposed to kick the crap out of the players. It's like death sometimes happens, and it's usually involuntarily, and it always sucks. It's just like the it's pretty plain,
I think
very
specifically
candid.
what I was thinking about was you're like, you need to make these people heroes,
Yeah.
right? Well,
Can't take it easy on them. You have to kick the crap out of them. How else can they prove their worth as heroes?
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's coming up. We're definitely going to be playing, and hopefully we could bring it out to all of you on YouTube land. Yeah, that would be great.
Watch us play make believe. All right. Well, that's pretty much all we have time for today. Mouse Guard coming soon.
You guys are
Austin?
really into that.
Austin, thanks again.
Thank you for having me.
Anything that you want to plug in the next 2 weeks?
Just come on down to the La Jolla Comedy Store to see me. I'm there just about every week.
That's where it works. La Jolla Comedy Store. Women's bathroom. Don't go to women's
No,
bathroom.
you have to go back to the last episode. I like when I broke it up.
That's a
Yeah.
callback.
There we go.
Thanks.
Thanks guys.
Thanks.